Hey guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm excited. We're going to be taking a look inside the Nexus Pro X. In this series, we're going to be opening up the blasters we review and seeing how they work inside, as well as giving us an idea on what performance upgrades we can make for our upgrade videos. And you guys will be able to participate in that as well. In this video down in the description, I'd like to hear what types of upgrades you'd like to see for the Nexus Pro X. We'll go ahead and take a look and make those adjustments as we see needed based on your recommendations. So yeah, so make sure you leave a comment down. What should we upgrade? Barrel length, new muzzle, spring, what should we upgrade? So let's go ahead and get started and talk first about what you'll need to get the blaster open. You'll need a screwdriver that has a semi-thin neck to it to get to the screws in the Picatinny rail. Your typical kind of bit screwdriver won't reach them. They go all the way through and they're pretty far down there. So as one of a screwdriver has a kind of thinner neck, slightly longer to get in there would be perfect. Also, a screwdriver that has some type of metallic or magnetized tip is great because some of these screw ports are very, very long. So you'll need that. We'll need some type of pry bar or pry tool to get the buffer tube open. I wouldn't recommend using a metal screwdriver only because you could damage the plastic that is holding the buffer tube together. But we're just going to be opening this up once or twice, so this probably won't be too bad. In a perfect world, you'd use some type of plastic spudger. iFixit sells a really nice one. I can highly recommend them. I just don't have one at hand right now. So this will just have to do a flathead screwdriver that's relatively thin and small. So the first thing you're going to do is remove all the extra pieces, bits and bobs that has on the blaster itself, the scopes, the muzzles, the buttstock, things like that. You'll want to get those removed. And then you'll also want to remove the screw that is back here holding your buffer tube spring in. Make sure that your blaster is not primed because otherwise this will shoot out and could be very dangerous. So there's still quite a bit of pre-compression. So you can see there's still a good 2 inches of pre-compression on that spring. So you'll want to pull that out and oh boy, look at that spring. So there's that. The spring itself is roughly 14 millimeters outer diameter. Inner diameter is roughly 11, somewhere in there. And then as far as length goes, apologize, I just have inches here, but you can do the conversion. Or hey, you know what? Editing Joe, put the conversion up for 14 and an eighth length. So that's your spring right there. Next up, you want to go ahead and remove all 29 screws located in this blaster. Now the good thing is I've already done that, but the better thing for you is they're all exactly the same. This includes the ones that hold the Picatinny rail on both sides, and then everything else. So you've got your front grip and your back grip, everything is the same, so you don't have to worry about keeping those organized. Just take out all 29 and tuck them away, and then we can start disassembling. So first thing that I'm curious about is this grip here, and it doesn't look like, oh, maybe it is. Look at that. They do have a screw port for airsoft grips. That's fantastic. That's something that was included in the try-on. I don't use that feature, but I know people that do, and that's a fantastic feature. You carefully do have a metal pin here that keeps the looks like keeps the handle somewhat rigid, so that's nice to see that there's a little bit of metal in there to keep that going. I'm also curious about this. Come on, get off there. This is a little bit tricky to get apart, only because there is a roller. There we go. A little help. So there's a roller included in the pump grip. and a metal kind of rod here that just sits together like this, and that helps you give you a little bit more of a smoother prime. So that's nice that they included that. Again, creature comforts that they didn't have to include, and you would never know unless you took it off. Nice size Picatinny rail here. The other thing that I want to mention too is to change out the barrel is really sweet. There's 1, 2, 3 screws, I believe, plus the 2 on the back side. I don't want to lift it up, but you can pull this out. Actually, no, I lied. It's just the 1, 2, and then 3 and 4 to pull the shroud out, which brings the barrel out. So you could easily swap the barrel out. Obviously, if you go a longer barrel, you're gonna have to take care of that insert right there that keeps the shorter barrel locked in. Yeah, find a way to secure a longer barrel in, whether that's with E-tape or whatever. As far as the barrel is concerned, let's get a 0 here. You're looking at 16 millimeters on the outside and an inner diameter of roughly 13. So that's fantastic there. The length of the barrel, I think this is the same. This feels like the same length as the original Nexus. You're looking at just shy of 7.5 inches. So Editing Joe, give me some millimeters on that. So we'll set that aside. And yeah, you can go ahead and open up the blaster. Now I haven't opened this up yet, so do be careful about springs and stuff. There are 2 clips on the back of the buffer tube that will need to be removed, but the only 2 screws are on this side right here, and that's to take off the front muzzle piece. So make sure you don't forget those. Let's try and pry this open with should be able to push these down and pull up on the other side. That's what I did with my original Nexus, and you kind of maybe get away with it. No. I'm gonna have to go in and pry just a little bit. Let's start with the outside one first. Okay, so what I had to do was try and pry open with my fingers, keep pressure on, and then put the spudger in and twist just ever so slightly to release that cap so that it releases. And it'll pop. Start with the outside one, and you can see it kind of separating, and then move down a little bit to get that open. So let's go ahead, and we should be able just to clamshell this thing open. Come on. Don't think there's any more screws that were hidden underneath stuff. There we go. All right. Let's take a look at the inside of the Nexus Pro. So a couple things to think about here. You've got a couple different screws. You get a screw on your catch mechanism right here. There's a screw down here, and then 2 screws on your magazine locks. Oh, I'm sorry, springs, not screws. So all that, possibly could come jumping out at you. It looks like the catch itself has moved ever so slightly. Yeah, it looks like this is meant to go down here, maybe? I don't know. That's weird. So there's your catch. It does look like they've applied some lubrication to it, which is nice. So how does this actually work? And that's part of what see, spring went flying. All right, well, so much for one take, but so we'll go and pull the screw out, or spring out there. All right, so how does this actually work? So you've got your magazine enters in here, and this is what we would normally call a skinny pusher. And so that locks into the first one, and then you're in there. So when you prime the blaster back, obviously without a spring, it's not going to have much retention. But so you pull this back, it moves the whole plunger system back, and it engages the catch right here. So it locks, and that spring will ensure that the catch goes back down, right? So now you've pulled the spring back, you compress the spring, locked it in place, and then you're moving forward, which pulls the plunger tube forward. However, and loads your dart simultaneously into the breech, seals, right? And then brings that also in turn brings your plunger tube forward, which in normal cases would bring the plunger rod back, but the plunger rod is securely in place thanks to the catch. So then once you pull the trigger, what's going to happen is it's going to engage this little notch right here, which is going to push the spring retention up, which will release your plunger tube and or plunger rod and spring. That will force all of that air down in what looks like into this little kind of offshoot, I guess, which is like directly behind the dart. That is really cool. I mean, you're talking like minimal like space to get from the plunger tube. To get to the plunger tube to the dart. Like you're talking like, here's the edge of the plunger tube. Here's where the air kind of gets redirected and pushes forward. In a traditional blaster, Springer blaster, where everything's in line, and this is what the difference is between the Nexus Pro X and the past 5 years worth of blasters, is everything has been in line. So the air comes out of the front of the plunger tube and goes into this section, which goes through the pusher and then into the breech. What they've done here is engineered it to where this one piece, there is no air loss in this, where normally you would have a break between the plunger tube and the pusher, and then again from the pusher to the actual breech. In this case, they've eliminated that first one. The only time you could possibly lose air is between this stem and the actual breech itself. Now it looks like, so it looks like the actual O-ring that they give you in the extra O-ring that they give you, that goes directly in here, and I'll try and tip this up for you. That goes directly in front of where your darts get loaded in. So you can see it just on the inside of this orange piece. That is really, really cool. And they wasted like zero space here. Obviously, as far as like upgradable parts go for like machined metal parts, things like this kind of pusher arm here, priming arm here, this could all be replaced with metal internals. They've got a good system as far as slide goes. They don't use any bearings or anything like that, which is unfortunate. But there's enough lubrication in here where it does slide very smoothly. So if you're going to be performing maintenance on your blaster, you open it up, you're going to, make sure that you want to be well lubricated from back to front. That way you keep that smooth slide going. But yeah, that is pretty much it as far as the inside of the blaster goes. You've got your 2 magazine detents here, your trigger, your safety, which that could be all changed out. So in the comments, guys, let me know, what are your thoughts as far as upgrades go? Should we look at getting an upgraded spring? Should we look at upgrading the plunger, or I'm sorry, the barrel for a longer barrel? Are you guys interested in different scars and B-cars? Obviously, if we do the different barrel, what type we need to either design or purchase a new muzzle attachment here, because I don't want to. I try my best not to modify a blaster to where it can't go back to its original form. That way, if I want to give it to somebody as a gift or whatever, I can always downgrade it back to its original form, or if they want it to be. So I'm not looking to file that down, unfortunately. We will be purchasing a separate port or designing our own. So let me know in the comments what you guys think. Make sure you leave a like if you enjoyed this video. Get subscribed for more videos in this series. And as always, guys, thank you so much for watching, and we'll see you in the next one.